Welcome to our channel. Today, we are excited to share a special film with you. It has an amazing 9.2 rating on IMDb and is based on a true story. This film is one of the best Indian films in the world. The film is very popular because many people relate to its message. Most people have faced failures in their lives, and this film gives them hope and strength to keep going and succeed. Critics have said that there might never be another Indian film like this one. I think you now understand how amazing this film is. Instead of further praising this film, let me give you an idea of its story. There is a young man from a very poor family whose only dream is to become an IPS officer. However, all he has is the desire to pursue that dream, with nothing else. Becoming an IPS officer is a very difficult journey, which this young man knows very well. His grandmother also understands the dream he has. His grandmother gives him some money she had saved and tells him to take it and go after his dream, promising to come back home as an IPS officer. The young man takes the money and leaves home with his dream of becoming an IPS officer. The story of this amazing film starts here, from a person who has fallen to the lowest point in life. This film, which came out in 2023, is called 12th Fail. Maybe you, who are watching this film, might be stuck in some problems or unable to think beyond certain issues. This film might not give you direct answers to your problems, but we assure you that it will give you the strength to overcome them. That's why we invite all cinema enthusiasts to watch the entire story until the end. Before finishing the video, we remind you that we always bring such amazing films to you. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can see the subscribe button below. Click on it and the bell icon next to it. Let's see what kind of problems this poor young man, who left home with the dream of becoming an IPS officer, faces, and whether he can ultimately achieve his dream. The main character of the film is a young boy named Manoj. The film starts by showing Manoj supposedly studying, but instead, he's writing cheat notes for an exam he has the next day. Manoj lives with his mother, father, older brother, younger sister, and grandmother, all in the same house. Manoj's father is a very honest government employee who refuses to take bribes, and as a result, he is not favored by his superiors. Manoj's father has even had a conflict with his superior, leading to his dismissal. This means the family now has no source of income. The following day, the exam at Manoj's school is not conducted in a regular manner. The teachers do not teach the students properly, but instead allow them to cheat during the exam. Manoj has prepared cheat notes in advance. However, this time, he cannot use them because the police have been tipped off about the cheating. Consequently, DSP Dushyant, an honest police officer, arrives at the school with his team to catch the cheating principal. Meanwhile, with no income at home, Manoj's father leaves to find a job. Manoj and his brother don't just sit idle. They start working by renting a rickshaw. However, they can't continue this work for long because the local minister works only with buses, and he doesn't like people in the area using the rickshaw service. Additionally, the minister's men and the police falsely accuse Manoj's brother of transporting illegal liquor in the rickshaw, leading to his arrest. Manoj manages to get bail. Afterward, Manoj directly approaches DSP Dushyant and explains the situation. DSP Dushyant intervenes and frees Manoj's brother from jail. Later, as Manoj and his brother ride in DSP Dushyant's jeep, Manoj shares his thoughts. He says that his father was also very honest, and because of this honesty, he lost his job. Manoj used to think honesty was a weakness, but now, he understands that it is not. He realizes that if someone with power supports them, they can overcome such challenges. Manoj gains a lot of respect for DSP Dushyant. Anyway, before getting out of the jeep, Manoj approaches DSP Dushyant and says that he wants to be like him. He asks what he needs to do for that. Dushyant smiles and tells Manoj to first stop the cheating, like he did during the exam. From there, he can become someone like him. Although Dushyant says this casually, it deeply affects Manoj. From then on, Manoj starts studying diligently and stops cheating during exams. Even though others cheat and write the exams, Manoj writes the exams honestly. For 3 years, Manoj continues to take exams honestly. During this time, The family's situation deteriorates as they have no income. They are forced to sell their cow for money. One day, Manyo's grandmother asks him about his dreams. She then gives him some money she had saved over the years and tells him to take it and become a good police officer. Manyoj hugs his grandmother and promising to return as a good police officer. He takes the money and leaves home on a bus. As he reaches the destination, he realizes that his bag is missing. Someone had stolen it, along with the money and everything else he had. Manyoj is devastated and doesn't know what to do next. Despite his setbacks, Manyoj decides to pursue his dream of becoming a DSP. He learns about an exam called PCS Public Civil Services that one must take to become a DSP. However, when he gets there, he finds out that the government has halted all recruitment for 3 years due to bankruptcy. Hearing this, Manyoj is unsure of what to do next, since he came here with the hope of becoming a DSP. However, after 3 years, recruitment had completely stopped. It was only after coming here that Manyoj found out about it. Manyoj realizes that now he doesn't even have any money to buy food. So, Manyoj waits near a food shop for days. Unable to bear the hunger, he finally goes to the shop owner and asks if he could get some food in exchange for doing any work. Seeing Manyoj's condition, the shop owner realizes he hasn't eaten for days and gives him some food. For the first time in days, Manyoj gets something to eat. At this food shop, Manyoj meets another young man named Pritham, who had also come to take the PCS exam. But since the exam had been completely halted for 3 years, Pritham asks Manyoj if he's going back home. Manyoj tells Pritham that he can't go back home because his grandmother gave him all the money she had saved over her lifetime, and now that money is gone. Manyoj explains that he came here with the dream of becoming a DSP, but now he doesn't know what to do. Pritham then tells Manyoj that he is not going back home either. Instead, he is going to Delhi to take the UPSC exam. Manyoj, who doesn't know what UPSC is, asks Pritham about it. Pritham explains that after passing the UPSC exam, one can become an IPS officer, which is a higher position than a DSP. Hearing this, Manyoj realizes that although he came here to become a DSP, there is another way to achieve an even higher position. The UPSC exam is held in Delhi. Manyoj asks Pritham to take him along to Delhi. Pritham agrees, and they both head to Delhi together. However, once in Delhi, Manyoj realizes that becoming an IPS officer by passing the UPSC exam is very difficult. Many students appear for the UPSC exam, and it has 3 stages: the preliminary exam, the main exam, and then an interview. Only if someone passes all 3 stages can they become an IPS officer. So, becoming an IPS officer is indeed a very difficult task, as Manyoj now understands. However, there is a small solution. They go to meet someone named Gauri. Gauri has been conducting classes for UPSC exam aspirants for 8 years. Hence, Manyoj and Pritham join these classes. Gauri explains the path to passing the UPSC exam by using an example of a snake and ladder game. Gauri says that the exam is like the game, where many people try, but only a few succeed in the end. Those who fail have to start from the beginning again. Gauri, despite conducting classes for UPSC aspirants, has not passed the exam yet himself. He has attempted the exam 5 times over the years, but has not succeeded. Currently, he is waiting for the results of his 6th attempt. Pritham has a concern, as usually, one can only attempt this exam 4 times. However, Gauri explains that he got 2 additional attempts because he belongs to a lower caste. This raises a bigger concern to Manyoj, as he doesn't even have money to pay for the classes. So, Manyoj asks Gauri if he could find him some kind of job, as he is willing to do any work necessary. Feeling sorry for Manyoj, Gauri helps him get a small job at a library. When Manyoj goes there, the librarian tells him he will be paid only Rs. 280 a month, and if he is even 5 minutes late on any day, his entire monthly salary will be cut. Manyoj assures the librarian that he will come on time every day and do all the work. Later, Manyoj and Pritham talk, and it becomes clear that Pritam's dream is not really to become an IPS officer. He is doing all this because his father forced him. Pritam tells Manoj about this, but Manoj's dream of becoming an IPS officer is now stronger than ever. That's why Manoj is putting in so much effort and working so hard. The next day, the UPSC exam results are out. Gauri checks his results for the 6th attempt. Unfortunately, as usual, he fails the exam again. After seeing this, Pritam realizes that following an unsuccessful teacher won't help. The top scorer in the UPSC exam is someone named Mohan. So, Pritam goes to learn from him to somehow pass the exam. But Manoj does not do that. Manoj stays with Gauri. Gauri starts a tea shop named Restart. This shop is meant for those who have failed the exam. They can come and have tea here. During this time, Gauri shares his knowledge with these students. This is what the Restart tea shop is about. Meanwhile, Manoj continues to work in the library and studies with great difficulty. Later, they all face the preliminary exam again. When the results come out, Manoj finds out he has failed. Pritam also fails the exam. After hearing this, Gauri comes to Manoj and tells him that he has no other option but to restart. Manoj goes back to working in the library and starts studying again because becoming an IPS officer is still his dream. Pritam, on the other hand, is now learning from Mohan and doing well. Manoj goes to talk to Mohan, and another year passes. Manoj continues working in the library and studying hard for the preliminary exam. When the results come, Manoj is very happy to find out that he has passed the exam. However, Pritam fails again. Pritam is not doing this out of passion, but due to his father's pressure. Manoj's success in passing the exam makes Gauri very happy. He advises Manoj to now find a new place for classes for the next stage of the exam. There is an institution that conducts classes for the next stage. Manoj goes there to talk, but they demand a high fee. But Manoj doesn't have that much money, so he asks the officer there if he can pay in installments. He also offers to do any work in the institution as a way to help. The officer then tells Manoj to go and take some photos with another person. Meanwhile, there is a young woman named Shraddha who is attending classes at this institution with her father. Shraddha is aiming to become a district officer. As usual, the officer there starts boasting, claiming that the top scorer of the previous preliminary exam also attended classes here. But Manoj knows that's not true, and he tells the officer in front of Shraddha and her father that the top scorer did not attend classes here. The officer admits she lied. Shraddha and her father then decide to leave. Before leaving, Manoj tells Shraddha that since they both are attending the same classes, they should find a new place together. He adds that if she needs anything, she can find him at the library. Shraddha understands his sincere intention to help. The next day, Shraddha comes to the library where Manoj works. At that time, Shraddha sees an engineering book in Manoj's hand and mistakenly thinks that Manoj is studying engineering. Manoj tries to clarify, but because he is talking to the librarian, he can't fully explain. Later, Shraddha tells Manoj about her desire to join the civil service and become a district officer. She also mentions where her house is. Manoj and Shraddha then find a new place for classes together. They start attending the classes together and soon become good friends. Manoj admires Abdul Kalam's life story, how he studied under street lamps and overcame challenges to achieve his dreams. This inspires Manoj to work hard and pursue his dream. Knowing this, Shraddha gifts Manoj a book about Abdul Kalam's life. During a class, the teacher asks an engineering-related question. Shraddha, still thinking Manoj knows a lot about engineering, asks him to answer it. Manoj then stands up to answer, but admits he doesn't know. Shraddha feels betrayed and gets angry with Manoj. Manoj, facing another problem, had been selling discarded paper from the library to make a small amount of money. The librarian finds out and scolds Manoj, calling him a thief. Manoj, feeling unjustly accused, argues back, claiming he is honestly working towards his dream. As a result, Manoj loses his job at the library. After this incident, no one hears about Manoj for a while. Pritam eventually finds out where Manoj is. Manoj is now working in a mill, studying under difficult conditions. Pritam can't even imagine how Manoj manages to study in such an environment. Manoj shows Pritam where he studies, a place so uncomfortable that it's hard to sit there, let alone study. Seeing this, Pritam feels very sad. The viewers of the film will also realize how much Manoj is suffering to pursue his dream. Despite the hardships, Manoj continues to work in the mill and study hard, preparing for the main exam. After completing the exam, Manoj discovers he made a huge mistake. In one part of the paper, a question was about tourism, but Manoj misread it as terrorism, so he wrote his entire answer about terrorism instead of tourism. There is nothing he can do now. The exam is over, and Manoj fails this main exam. After this incident, Manoj doesn't come out for a while. Then, later, it is shown that Manoj goes to Shraddha's house looking for her to talk. However, only the housekeeper is there. He tells Manoj that Shraddha has gone to another area for a family wedding. Manoj asks the housekeeper if there is any way to contact Shraddha. Then the housekeeper calls Shraddha and hands the phone to Manoj to talk to her. Manoj then explains that he worked hard for the main exam, but failed entirely because he misunderstood one word. After that, Shraddha tells Manoj that he needs to study again for the exam. She asks why he came to see her. Manoj, no longer holding back, tells Shraddha that he loves her very much, and that is why he came to meet her. However, as Manoj expected, Shraddha does not respond positively. She scolds him, telling him to focus on studying for the exam and not to come to see her again. Manoj feels very sad after hearing this and leaves. Later, Manoj goes back to his village to clear his mind. It turns out that Manoj's younger sister has grown up and his elder brother is working in another area. Manoj learns from his sister that their elder brother hasn't come home for a long time. Moreover, he hears from his sister that their beloved grandmother, who is waiting for Manoj to become a police officer, has passed away. This makes Manoj very sad. Manoj then talks to his mother. His mother tells him that they now have enough money and there are no more financial problems. However, Manoj knows well that his mother is lying to make him feel better. Manoj then cries. Despite leaving home with the hope of fulfilling his dreams, Manoj returns empty-handed and his family is still struggling. Realizing this, Manoj goes back to Delhi and resumes working at the flour mill. Manoj works very hard and sends some money back home every month. After working at the mill, he studies. Despite all this, Manoj gets only less than 2 hours of sleep a day. The amount of effort Manoj is putting in to achieve his dreams is clear. Eventually, Manoj's father learns about how much Manoj is struggling. His father comes to see Manoj. Seeing the conditions in which Manoj is living, his father cries. His father then tells Manoj that he shouldn't have to suffer this much and suggests they go back to the village together. However, Manoj, not willing to give up on his dreams so easily, tells his father that he may be failing now, but he hasn't given up yet. He assures his father not to worry about his struggles. Manoj then continues to study. Sometime later, realizing her mistake, Shraddha comes to meet Manoj and apologizes. However, Manoj, now focused on his studies, tells her that he has his main exam in 2 months and that they can talk after that. Shraddha understands the difficult situation Manoj is in and stops bothering him. 2 months later, Manoj passes the main exam. Shraddha is the first to know, and she comes to meet Manoj at his workplace. She tells him that he passed the exam. Manoj knew he would pass the main exam. Shraddha then asks Manoj how he is managing to study in such conditions and tells him that the next exam is much more difficult. She offers him some money she has saved so that he can study well in a better environment. However, Manoj is actually not willing to accept that. Manoj is concerned about the expenses at home. That is why Manoj is not willing to leave this job. Moreover, Manoj looks up to Abdul Kalam as an ideal. So, at this moment, Manoj tells Shraddha that Abdul Kalam studied under a street lamp. But I have a separate bulb here, so don't worry about me. I have more facilities here to study than necessary. Then Manoj continues to prepare for the next exam, which is the main exam. However, when the results come out, Manoj learns that he has failed the main exam again. So, You might understand now that this is the third time Manyoj has failed, and only one more chance remains. This time, if Manyoj passes both the preliminary and main exams, he will have a chance to pursue his dream. But at the last moment, Manyoj has a big fear about whether he will be able to complete all these steps. Shraddha understands this fear in Manyoj. So, at this moment, Shraddha tells Manyoj, "Manyoj, you told me you loved me that day. Today, I am going to give you an answer. I also love you very much. Don't have any doubts about it. I will be here to support you. So, this time, work hard and pass the exam." Indeed, those words from Shraddha give Manyoj great courage. Then, Manyoj goes straight to meet Mohan, who is now an IPS officer. Manyoj tells Mohan, "Bruh, I need your help. I failed the main exam twice. I can't even understand why I failed." After that, Mohan tells Manyoj, "You have to answer 20 questions within 3 hours. For each question, you will only have about 9 minutes to read, understand, and write an answer. You have to write more than 200 words for each answer. Can you really do that?" After that, Manyoj tells Mohan, "Can do it." Then, as an example, Mohan asks Manyoj to write 200 words about himself in 9 minutes. Manyoj thinks it is an easy challenge. However, within 9 minutes, Manyoj can only write less than 50 words about himself. Therefore, Mohan tells Manyoj directly, "You can never even dream of passing the main exam." Hearing this, Manyoj feels very sad. Manyoj then goes to meet Gauri. At that moment, Gauri starts scolding Manyoj, saying, "You are doing everything except studying. This time, forget about everything else and focus only on the exam. This is the last chance to pursue your dream. If you pass, it will be like we all have passed, and we will be very happy. So, let us help you this time." Understanding that Gauri's words are true, Manyoj accepts Gauri's advice. Later, Manyoj moves to another boarding house where only Gauri and Shraddha help him with everything. Manyoj only has to study. While Manyoj is studying, Shraddha is also not idle. She manages her study work as well. Thus, Shraddha also has the opportunity to pass her exams. Anyway, time passes like this. Manyoj first faces the preliminary exam and passes it with flying colors. But just like before, Pritam fails the main exam. Still, Manyoj comes to ask for Pritam's phone to call home. But Pritam gets angry. Why? Because Manyoj didn't even ask if Pritam passed or failed the exam. So, with a heavy heart, Pritam scolds Manyoj, saying, "You didn't even know the meaning of the word UPSC. I brought you here. The least you could do was ask if I passed or failed the exam. But no, you are asking for my phone." Understanding Pritam's disappointment, Manyoj first apologizes and then goes to a nearby shop to call home. After that, Manyoj happily tells his family, "Mom, I passed the main exam." Hearing this, Manyoj's family is very happy. Later, Manyoj calls Shraddha to share this happy news, but Shraddha is not home at that moment. Shraddha's mother answers the phone. On the other hand, it appears that Shraddha calls Manyoj back at night. At this moment, Shraddha is in big trouble. The reason is that someone called Shraddha's father and said that Shraddha is involved with Manyoj inappropriately. Shraddha cannot guess who said this, but Manyoj has an idea. Who would lie like that? After that, Manyoj calls Pritam, but at this moment, Pritam's phone is answered by the police because Pritam got drunk and acted crazy on the street. So, the police have arrested Pritam. Later, Manyoj goes to the police station where Pritam is held and asks the police officer under what section Pritam was arrested. The reason is that Manyoj has passed both the preliminary and main IPS exams, so he knows the law well. Manyoj understands that Pritam hasn't committed a big enough crime to be detained, so Manyoj explains the law and manages to get Pritam released. But then what Manyoj does is he takes Pritam's phone and checks it. At this moment, Manyoj confirms that the person who spoke to Shraddha's father and lied was none other than Pritam. Earlier, Pritam got into an argument with Manyoj, which is why he did this. Knowing that his best friend did such a thing makes Manyoj very angry with Pritam. Anyway, Manyoj goes to see Shraddha's parents and explains the real situation. After a month, Shraddha passes all her exams and is now a deputy superintendent. She goes to meet Manoj, and seeing her success makes Manoj very happy too. However, Manoj's work is not over yet. He still has one final interview. So, Shraddha first takes Manoj to a salon to get his hair and beard trimmed, and then they go to see Pritam. Manoj thanks Pritam despite everything and leaves with Shraddha for the interview. On the way, Shraddha gives Manoj a letter and tells him not to open it until after his work is done. Manoj goes for the interview but is very nervous, as failing this would mean his dream is incomplete despite passing both exams. At the interview venue, an officer checks Manoj's certificates and notices that Manoj initially failed the 12th grade and then barely passed later. The officer assumes Manoj will fail the interview because of this. The officer instructs another person to escort Manoj to the place where Judge Board is. While being escorted, the person tells Manoj that the judges will undoubtedly ask why he failed the 12th grade initially. He advises Manoj not to tell the truth, but to lie that he failed due to a family bereavement, like a grandmother's death, instead of any other reason. The person insists that lying will prevent Manoj from failing the interview based on his experience. This increases Manoj's anxiety, but nonetheless, Manoj is brought to the judges. After seating Manoj and checking his certificates, the judges see that Manoj initially failed the 12th grade and later barely passed. They ask Manoj about this. Manoj remembers what the person outside told him but decides to tell the truth. He explains that the school teachers didn't teach properly, leading to an unfair exam where cheating was rampant. However, Manoj missed the opportunity to copy in his first attempt due to strict supervision. All these facts are shared with the board. Hearing this, the judges are visibly concerned. They then ask Manoj to step outside. Manoj exits, now even more anxious than before. At this moment, Manoj remembers the letter given to him by Shraddha. Manoj then opens the letter and reads Shraddha's words. Manoj, whether you become IPS officer or not, I will always love you. If you cannot become someone like that, it doesn't matter. We will live together with our backs to the world. Shraddha's words bring great relief to Manoj's heart. After a while, the judge board calls Manoj back. Unlike before, Manoj answers the questions from the judge board with much more confidence. The judge board asks Manoj why he didn't lie when they questioned him about failing the 12th grade. Manoj explains to the board that he developed his perspective through hard work. The problem arose only when he first took one exam. The other students copied their answers as usual, but Manoj didn't engage in any cheating. He studied and took one exam to the best of his ability, which resulted in lower marks compared to others. Despite this, Manoj was happy because those marks were earned through his hard work. The judge board understands that Manoj is someone who speaks the truth, no matter what. Manoj continues to tell the judge board that the same situation exists in our country. The leaders don't want the people to become educated and intelligent because intelligent people would create problems for those leaders. Then, one of the judges says to Manoj in English, "You don't fit for this." Manoj doesn't understand the meaning of the English word but comprehends the judge's intention. He replies to the judge board, "No, I do fit for this." The judge board then tells Manoj that merely saying he fits for this isn't enough. He needs to prove it. Manoj thinks for a moment and asks the judge board for a glass of water. There is indeed a glass of water available, but instead of taking it, Manoj asks for another glass to pour the water into. The judge then tells Manoj that no matter what kind of glass it is, the water inside is still clean. Manoj's point was precisely this. No matter what kind of glass it is, the water inside remains pure. By thinking about the question in this way, Manoj tries to prove to the judge board that he is a suitable candidate. The judge board understands what Manoj is trying to convey. However, the judge board still has no clear impression of Manoj. The judge board then asks Manoj what he would do if he doesn't get selected for this. Manoj smiles and tells the judge board that it wouldn't be a problem. If he doesn't get selected, he will become a school teacher, and he won't stop his journey until he reaches his goal. The interview is then concluded in this manner. Later, in the results announcement, Shraddha eagerly accompanies Manoj to see the results. Manyoj is well aware that he has no chance of passing the interview because he didn't give the answers the judge board wanted. But can you imagine what happens after Shraddha checks the results? Despite Manyoj thinking he would fail, he has passed with flying colors, achieving his dream. Although it seemed otherwise to people, the judge board discussed Manyoj, concluding that he wasn't a suitable candidate. Even though some members of the judge board believed Manyoj wasn't fit for this, the other members recognized that Manyoj possessed many qualities they needed after filtering through the exam. That's why they decided to pass Manyoj in this field. At this moment, the officer from the class institution arrives and congratulates Manyoj, saying that he passed. They try to take photos, but Manyoj isn't keen on it. Manyoj got to this point without any cheating, lying, or deceit, and he doesn't want to engage in such falsehoods at this crucial moment. Afterwards, Manyoj arrives as an IPS officer. At his wedding invitation, the first person he gives it to is DSP Dushyant. At this moment, Dushyant salutes Manyoj because Manyoj is now an IPS officer. However, Dushyant doesn't remember who Manyoj is. Manyoj then starts to recall his dream and explains the whole incident to Dushyant. Upon hearing this, Dushyant is very happy. In the end, we see Manyoj and Shraddha's wedding. Not only that, the end of this film shows the real photos of Manyoj and Shraddha. This extraordinary film ends in the desired way. We can't just dismiss it as a mere film, because it's based on a true story from India. It shows how Manyoj, who came from a very poor family, achieved his dream. Despite repeated failures and the temptation to give up, Manyoj restarted at his lowest point. Because he restarted, he was ultimately able to achieve his dream. So, watching this film, you realize it's the right time for you to restart, isn't it? Even if you thought there was no point in trying further and that you couldn't move beyond this point, now you understand that restarting can help you achieve your dream. Now, it's time to start again and pursue your dream. It won't take that long. So, how was today's film? Be sure to comment below. Not only that, our channel brings you such an amazing film. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's the subscribe button below. Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell icon next to it. Everyone, with love, remember this. So, we'll meet soon with another fantastic film.